Hey everybody, welcome back to a very special edition of Grass Julia Modelers. I'm Dave Forrest, my good friend.
Harvey Lowe.
It's very difficult to say, very painful, but Bill Dingle, who was a great member of the modeling community here in the Greater Toronto area, passed away suddenly last month. We just wanted to say a couple of words.
Yep.
Bill was, a good friend of mine. He was an even better friend and a longer friend to Harvey. I knew him for I met him about 10, 12 years ago. And, he was somebody that was very welcoming, very generous person.
Very generous.
Very generous.
Overly generous.
To a fault.
Yeah.
When I first kind of got to know the greater modeling community here in Toronto, you guys are really kind of the conduit for that. So I'm always very grateful to yourself and to Bill for doing that. You met a lot of great people. Got to go to a lot of shows, experience all of that. None of this happens without that influence.
Right.
In terms of what we're doing here, or at least for me. It's very,
it's
very
a big
sad.
loss.
Yeah,
it's a big loss.
He was such a sweet man.
Yeah. His specialty is 172nd small scale armor.
Yeah.
And he sought me out 25 years ago.
He was prolific.
Very.
The work on the scratch building he did in 172nd,
I think he won best armor at several shows with some of his scratch built armor. And you can find his work on Facebook if you look under Will's Builds. And William, I believe he's under William Dingle. You can see some of his works. Now, we are doing a memorial this coming Wednesday, October 4th, 2023 at 7:30 at our in-person meeting. We are live streaming it because I know a lot of viewers, and those of you in the U.S. know him quite well. So whether you do or don't, I think our central message to any club that has lost members is let's celebrate their life and recognize their work, and that's basically what the memorial event and celebration of life will be this coming Wednesday. So we do miss Bill.
Yeah.
I travel a lot of road shows with him. It was insane. I did it with you once too. 2 shows in a weekend, and they were not close by. So that shows the passion.
Yeah.
And it's not about how good a modeler you are. It's your passion. And he certainly had a lot of passion. We'll miss him dearly. And it's just a personal loss for me.
Yeah, and he was a dear friend, and I remember we chat on the phone for hours about modeling and other stuff. I mean, he had such a dry sense of humor that man would laugh like nobody else.
So hopefully, maybe the family, we'll let the family know about, and maybe they're watching. Well, they'd be watching now. So our sympathies to you. His family is from the U.S. and his mother and his roots are in Halifax.
Right.
And we are in Toronto. So he is a huge and was and still will be with his work a huge influence on the modeling community in Toronto.
Yeah, it's very sad, but we'll be
so
looking.
We have a video too.
Yes, that's right. We do have a video of Bill doing an airbrushing seminar at our IPMS club. I think from 2009, Robert, if that's correct.
It is right, but again, it's such an old video now. We figured we'd resurrect it for his memory as well.
Yeah. So rest in peace, Bill, and hope you're in that big modeling room in the sky.
Build tons upstairs.
And the reason I got that idea is because in 92 at the club, IPMS 92, I talked to a fellow. I haven't seen him since. And he was an interesting guy. He showed up and we were talking about stuff, and we were talking about airbrushing. And he told me he had a technique, and I said, well, what's your technique? He said, well, what I do is I put my model down, and I thin my paint really thin it out. Like 5% paint, 95% thinner. And I take a blotter and I stick it like this. I put the blot where I want the paint, and I blow it across the piece. So I looked at him. I thought it was a joke. I thought Harvey sent someone to set me up. And the guy was absolutely 100% serious. And then I said, okay, so that covers a little bit. What do you do for the next one? Then I take the blotter and I put more down, and I blow on it, and it covers more area. I said, so at the end of the model, you're collapsed on the floor, hyperventilating, right? But the reality is, that's a type of crude way of airbrushing.
Old spot.
Really, it's a crude type of airbrushing. No, he just explained the technique.
Why don't you start?
Actually, Hardy mentioned the patch turbo. And
Oh, you brought one.
I have this. This is the Aztec, sold by Model Master. I use it 99.9% of the time. It's a double action brush or single action brush. It's the world's easiest brush to clean. Sometimes they don't honor the warranty because you can't actually take this apart. But what I did find, and you'll find eventually, is the plunger here, it's made of a nylon, and it pushes a little plastic tube. It's a plastic air feed tube. And it will break. It will snap, it'll break. You have no control over it. And I've gone through, I think, 2. But 2 in 13 years is pretty good. It's pretty good. Really.
Can I replace that part?
No, you can't replace any of it. If you signed the warranty card and you did your blood point or your fingerprint and then you gave the DNA sample, your birth certificate, your credit card number, the name of your favorite dog, what your favorite color is, your favorite movie, and you send it off to Model Master, technically you can actually take this part and mail it to them, and they will technically mail it back to you, but good luck with it. It's a lifetime warranty on this nylon body, and they say it's impervious to paints and dyes and everything, but I can assure you that it is not impervious to very few things. They will die. Mine looks like that too, and it doesn't matter what you put on it, even lacquer thinner, once it's in the body, it's not coming out. It's just the way it is. Fine nozzle. It is so superior to most of the airbrushes that I did use. You could literally paint chevrons on a mosquito that sucked blood out of you an hour ago. They're just so fine detail you can actually do with that little simple nozzle. And to clean them, you just fire your cleaner through with a pipette. It cleans it all out. What I normally do is I actually take it apart.
I've taken that one apart like 5 times in the last 2
When I first looked at it, I thought it was a dental tool from the former Soviet Union. But the reality is, when I bought it, I thought, oh, I can do a lot of things with this. I can. Yeah. But it takes you a good 4 or 5 months to master. Because you have, I think there's 8 adjustment points on it. And what it actually is, there's a little turbo vane inside, like a turbocharger. And as the air pressure goes through, it spins and it goes zzz.
And the needle does this.
And the needle does this. And the needle is a little tiny, I can put my glasses on, I can't even see it. It's a little tiny wire, it's a little tiny needle. And they actually give you a little package of 5 or 6 of them because they're very easy to break. You touch it and you'll break it. And what the turbo does is it actually pulls the needle back and forth. And it goes in front of...
Sounds like a tattooing needle.
It's somewhat
like it, right?
And it doesn't have a paint cup, it has like a paint server. So you actually put a couple drops of paint in it. And what happens is it's a capillary action because this little needle is being driven by a turbo rotor spinning thousands of times a minute. It actually draws the paint from the cup, little tiny bead, onto the needle that pushes it in the direction of the air. The little air nozzle with another adjustment point. So what they originally designed it for is back before the digital age and home computers, is for photo retouching. So if you want to put a different shadow on Lee Harvey Oswald holding a gun, this is what you would have used. Because it's basically used for Photoshop, for retouching, altering photographs, taking the pock marks of Stalin's face and having him look 25-year-old boyish dictator, mass murderer. So basically that's what they use these for. So through a mutual friend through Harvey, Barry Numerick, if you know Barry, he does 72nd scale German aircraft. And he does the modeling and the laws and the modeling on NA-109s and Focke-Wulfs and everything. And I believe you had a conversation with him. How did you do that? They said, oh, this is the airbrush. If you can get one, get one. And if you can master it, you'll be able to do the same thing that I do. So when I heard about it, I said, well, I got to get one of those because I can do squiggle patterns and 1/44 scale on armored tanks. In theory, you can. But the reality is you're going to take a 2-week vacation and try to figure out how to use it. Because it's very frustrating.
Barry said that in order to use that brush, break out the music and whine because you're going to need an evening of whining and dining.
You've got to caress it. You've got to talk nice to it.
There's nothing better. And Barry, if you're ever at the U.S. Nationals and you enter 1/72nd axis and he's in it, just
put it in the box.
Just give it up. Because he always takes that at work. He's a master modeler, one of the top 10 in the U.S.
And a very nice person.
That's what he uses.
But that's what it is, and it's a mechanical. Because it's relying on air pressure to push a turbine, which pulls a needle, which pulls the paint and pushes it into the airstream. and it's all external. So to clean it up, because I did practice with it and play with it, to clean it up, I really, except for the needle, what I basically did was just take it and dunk it in, and let it dry, then blow some air through it, and then use Q-tips, real soft Q-tips, just to try to just to get it in all the nooks and crannies. It took me probably an hour to get it all where I wanted it. But it's one of those shelf queens. It's nice to look at, nice to behold, but good luck if you ever really